Hi Ben, lovely to see you. Thanks for joining us today.
Not at all. Great pleasure, Tiggy.
Brilliant. Well, we'll jump straight into it because we don't have a massive amount of time. So I just wanted to ask you to share a little bit with us about the journey that you and the team have been on at Simmons Simmons with deconstruction or rebundling.
Sure, yeah. I mean, it's been quite a long one, and I suppose there are 3 or 4 elements to it. So we probably started off 3 or 4 years ago looking at how we could deconstruct the very essence of what we do, which is really matter deconstruction. So breaking it down into the process parts and then improving each of those parts. But actually what we learned from that, which was really a pilot, was that bigger change was much easier if we trained people to change their behaviors rather than focusing just on the process. So we rolled out a very long program for about 12 months where we trained everyone in something we call the Service Excellence Standard, which was focused on behavioral change of delivery of those matters. And then what we've also been doing continuously alongside the sort of core optimization of service delivery is developing new capabilities or acquiring new capabilities such as data science and legal engineering capabilities, flexible resourcing, product development, new technologies, and then seeing where we can improve by enhancing matter delivery and starting to bundle those matters back together with these enhanced capabilities to compete in different ways. And then I suppose the other thing we do have, which certainly in the UK at the moment, is we have Bristol, the Bristol office. So we're mainly focused in London, but we have the Bristol office, which is a way of reducing the cost of delivering some services, but it is not an outsourcing centre. We haven't gone for that model at all. So there's a whole array of things really which we have been through in terms of really analysing how we deliver work, how we structure the work, how we resource the work, and also then how we can enhance and innovate around the service delivery.
I'm really interested that you talk about your culture change journey. I mean, that's my experience, that it's hearts and minds and actually giving people the right training, the right coaching, the right support to enable them to unleash a bit of creative thinking. How did you find rolling out the cultural aspects of your program?
So yeah, I mean, I think there's some really key issues here. You're quite right, Tiggy. And what we learned from the matter deconstruction pilot is actually we needed the people who we wanted to change to lead it. And so in our service excellence program, every single training program, every single application of new tools and technology was led by the practice group head. It having been designed for that practice group and actually that market or office, depending on where they were in the world, by the service excellence team with the practice group head. And then they would lead it, be supported by the team, and then the team would take, the practice group would take ownership of that change in the context of the way they worked as opposed to having them being imposed upon them. So that was really critical and led to significant success.
Yeah, and I think often, so where you have innovation teams or business improvement teams, if they're driving it, it's never fully owned by the business. So that sounds like a really great move. So I'm sure it wasn't all plain sailing. Can you tell us about some of the challenges that you faced on that journey?
Yeah, I mean, some of the challenges are actually quite nice challenges to have. So where people have very successful practices, embedding a sort of a change in the way they're doing things is actually quite challenging because it's very difficult to see an incentive to do so. And in those cases, what we focused on was the client experience of that service and making clear to them that, you know, it might be that you're profitable now, it might be that you're having a great time now and clients are saying nice things to you, but it only takes somebody to come along and give them a much better experience, and then you start to threaten your model. So you'd still need to evolve the way you develop things. And at the other end of the spectrum, for those that were under a lot of pressure, so practices that might be under a lot of market pricing pressure, it's very hard to concentrate on change when you're just trying to keep the boat afloat, as it were, right? And so we had to be very cognizant of that fact and design the training and the change over and recognize it's going to take a long period of time, them owning it, and show slow incremental progress, if you like. And so those were two of the key challenges, I suspect.
And did you have any pushback about taking people out for training or coaching or involvement in design work?
How do you mean in terms of the...
Out. So if practice heads and then some members of the team were involved in workshops or working through ideas, did you have any pushback from partners about bringing people out of billable work to do some of this thinking?
No, I think that the key there was actually no, we never had that, and we didn't have it because it was the responsibility of the group to improve themselves, not the responsibility of my team to make them improve themselves. And we had, you know, support right from the top of the organisation. We'd done a lot of pre-work, 6-7 months of consulting to see how best we could roll these things out. So everyone was prepared and building themselves up to this program. So now actually, you know, every group wrote its own case studies for the training, and they were written by the fee earners in the group. And yeah, we never had any trouble in that sense.
That's brilliant. And what about your tips for success then? So we've got firms who are listening thinking, yeah, we started this, or we want to start doing this. Have you got some top tips that you can share?
Yeah, it's like anything really. I mean, it really reminds me of people trying to apply, say, lean or total quality management techniques into health services or professional services. The critical part of it is the philosophy, not the cookie cutter approach that other people have taken, which you're just trying to land on people. So you've got to have a core philosophy, which is to improve customer experience, improve efficiency, value for money, returns to the firm based on the effort you're putting in. But you must not be wedded to simple formulaic ideas or ideas that have worked elsewhere. You need to be able to take the time to adjust the way you're going to approach these things to make it work for the people that you're working with, and to give them the responsibility and ownership for delivering it. Because at the end of the day, you know, it isn't my job to make other people better at their job. It is my job to help them make themselves better at their job. And as long as you bear that in mind and you are patient and you understand it's going to take time, then it's you know, going to be a very successful exercise.
That's brilliant. Thank you so much for sharing your insights with us. I really appreciate you taking the time.
That's my pleasure entirely.
Thank you.